Today, let's talk about how much runway you actually have. A lot of times you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, girl, like how much savings you have or what's your bank account looking like? And that is factored into, how quickly you can like leave a job, how quickly you can pivot, how quickly you can not settle for different types of roles or like leave toxic environments quickly. I know with myself as someone who has years of freelance experience as well as permanent experience, I call it having a runway because it's kind of a little bit different than savings. Like your savings is like that's what you're normally taking out your paycheck, your normal deductions. And in your runway, I would say is like kind of like your padded money. And the reason why I call it a runway is because like I think about fashion, right? I'm a fashion girly. And then right, I've done fashion shows, I've been in fashion shows, I've also attended fashion shows, and it's different types of runways, right? So depending on the show that you're in, they might tell you like, you have the short runway, which is like, we just need you to model one look, right? Come out with your one look, walk down the aisle, turn around, do your spin, leave, right? Then there's fashion shows that you have a longer runway, right? So in the longer runway, not only are you walking longer, but you have the option to like change your clothes. Like maybe they say, you know what, Lenora, instead of one outfit, I have three that I think you'll look great in. And this is also like for yourself, right? If you are like my background is fashion and e-commerce. So like just knowing that you have just say like different outfits for different things. So now why I came up with that term more so like for freelance and your money is more so like if you have a runway, it's more about how much time do you have, like how much time do you have and how quickly can you pivot to another place? How quickly can you leave that job if it's not serving you? And this is more so, like I said, more freelance oriented than more permanent. Um, just because we're permanent, right? You're thinking about, you don't just want to be quitting a job, right? You want to, like, if you're even on like a performance warning or kind of that thing, it's better for the company to, no offense, but like fire you or lay you off because you can still have your unemployment, right? So since you have options that tailor you living and getting unemployment, that's still more so like in your savings, right? Because you have income, because unemployment is still an income. Even if it's a smaller income, it's still an income, it's still a weekly check. The runway, however, is you're doing this, right? Like this is your, like, that's why I said it's kind of like your padded income. So if you're freelancing and say like, cause you have the job description, you don't, like I said in my other video, you don't know the climate of the company, right? Like the job description is one thing, but until you start that role, you don't know what the climate is. You don't know what the culture is. Those are things that you cannot pick up from a job description. Right. So now you start in this role and it's like, it's crazy toxic, right? Or like someone like me, like I'm a feeler. So I get senses in my body. Like I'll get mind you, I have migraine headaches from a child, but it still counts. But migraine headaches, I get migraine headaches. I get like neck pains. I met up with another friend recently, the friend that I went to my beacon trip with. And we talked about like the neck pain. Like she started getting these certain pains as soon as she like accepted a new offer. You know what I mean? It's like you start like feeling it in your body. And like I said, because I'm a feeler, so I feel things, and also I'm an empath, and then that's also highly intuitive. So I got a lot of senses, a lot of feelings going on at once. So, like I mentioned, you want to have that runway. That runway is giving you more so access to, like I said, time. How much time do you have, right? If you're laid off or if you left a role, how much time you have to maybe like take a quick camp? Maybe it's a 4 month boot camp is not a 4 week boot camp, right? You might do a 4 week boot camp or even a 2 week one, just to be able to speak to the thing in an interview, right? Like we have like a lot of the AI going on right now. You might want to take a 2 week boot camp. Now, does that mean you're proficient? No, because you're not going to be proficient in anything in 2 weeks. However, you can speak to it in the interview, or you have enough, you know enough to kind of like speak to it in the interview and use it at your role. Remember, all tools can be learned, right? Unless you're a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, like those are more like specifications, right? Careers and callings. That is, it's kind of different, right? Um, you don't need to be licensed, all that kind of big stuff. You can kind of just pivot, get a certificate, and it could be okay. Right now, we have a lot of people, pivoting roles, saying that they're one thing and they're not really that thing. They don't have the expertise or the experience to speak to that thing. So you want to just make sure like you have enough of it, and you're also using your background. How quickly does your background that you're into product management, engineers, how much roles are available for your niche, right? Either on LinkedIn, either on Indeed. Like myself, if you have a good amount of recruiters, that how often is your role being called for, right? How many calls are you getting daily? What does leaving a job really look like? What does pivoting really look like? So that's the focus of this video. Like I said, it's about more so about having a runway, and having a runway again just gives you more time. Not, it's like, how much time do I have before I start dipping into my savings, right? Time is also, okay, I'm leaving the job this month. How many weeks do I have before I'm in a scary place of like, okay, I have to land a new job, right? Because 4 months of savings versus 4 weeks of a runway is kind of like different, right? It's a little bit different. It's more like you don't want to touch that savings yet, so you're still kind of like using your runway, and that's the money. Your runway is also the money that you use for like, I'm going to take an AI boot camp, or I want to go into cybersecurity. I wouldn't recommend that, because cybersecurity is more like you kind of need more training. That's not something that you could pivot to in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, or something like you get a project management short certificate, but you, either way, the company is not hiring you based on your certificate. The company is still hiring you based on your years of experience, your years of expertise in that field. As opposed to like if you're coming in entry level, right? If you're entry level, you're building your skill set. I also talk about why you should use, how freelancing could be used to like build a portfolio. I think I did a video on that already. If not, I will do it. And just how you can use like even short, 6 week roles or 3 month roles, to kind of like use that as your experience when you are pivoting into a new career, right? So maybe you take a job that is in the new field you want to get into, and they say it's only for 6 weeks. I advise you taking that role, and don't look at it as more so money, but look at it more so as the experience, because you can always land a lower paying job, but then pivot you to landing a higher paying job, which is something I have experience in well. Like when I was leaving Toxic Farmer, everyone told me like, oh, the money this, the money that, the money that. God replaced my income. In a year, I was making more than the income I left. You know what I mean? With the bonuses, 2 bonuses a year, like all of that stuff contributed to, like I was making more money. So I don't want it to be like where you are money focused, but more so like health focused, right? Conscious focused, wholeness focused. That should be your focus, because you can always, as long as you're alive and breathing, you can always get another job. You can always make more money. You know what I mean? So it's more about having that runway. What does the savings look like? I don't want you interviewing from a place of desperation, because not only are you desperate, the interviewers can also be desperate. And just because you're online doesn't mean that they cannot feel, you don't want to have that please hire me look. You still want to have your composure. And if you're a believer, someone like myself, or you're spiritual, or whatever you want to call it, you're also operating in faith. And faith is not, there's a part of faith that gets desperate, right? Because that's like where the miracle is, like you're desperate, right? But then there's like If you have that runway, you're more like confident, you're more assured, you're not going to be settling for less. They can't bamboozle you. You know your worth. You know who you are. So you're interviewing from that place. You're interviewing from a place of abundance, not from a place of scarcity, right? Because those are both mindsets. Like, how do you see it? How are you thinking? This is not the last role. This is not the last man. You know what I mean? Like, you have to come from a place of abundance. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to do this video. I'm going, like, I got a lot of things to do today. Like, I need to do this here. You see it, how fuzzy it is. That's what I'm doing. And then like my nail came off, and mind you, these are all my nails, but the one that's fake came off. That tells you something, right? Um, yeah, so I got to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that. May happen tomorrow because hair takes all day for me, or at least 2 hours, and then by then I'm exhausted to like do the nails, right? I don't want to because I have to soak and all that stuff too. But yeah, so that's what this video is about. Thinking about your runway, and if you don't have a runway, start building one. Like, start having a runway. Like I said, the place where you can get your skill set from, you can use that money to get a certificate. If it's free, you also have YouTube University. But a lot of things with the free stuff is like sometimes it's not really accredited, or like, oh, okay, well, she just went on YouTube and kind of learned video. You know what I mean? Like, you want something more, especially when you're leaning into more the higher salaries, you're going to have to invest more. Something that is accredited, or some kind of like capsules, which I'll be, offering in the future as well. But something that kind of like, they know what you're talking about, and they know what you speak to. And not only landing the role, remember, you also have to function in that role, right? So you have 90 days if it's a permanent role, and you don't want to be on a morning, And then if it's a freelance role, they're expecting you more so to hit the ground running, right? So you want to come in, you need to hit the ground running, you need to know what you're doing. There's not much time. You may have a day to catch up on videos, kind of look at the pipeline, see what's going on, and then execute the next day, right? You might have a quick 24 hours, depending on the need. If it's something that it's only a role for a month or a role for 6 weeks, they're going to expect you. If they bring you in on Monday, they're going to be sending you stuff on Tuesday. Sometime Monday afternoon, they'll start sending you emails. So you got to think about that when you're looking at your rates, what you're saying about what rates you want, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so again, get your runway. Like I said, fashion, right? Fashion shows, like the runway is longer than there's short runways. There's all types of different runway. There's different types of outfits, right? Like today, I'm working out today. I'm going to the hair salon. So this is my outfit. This wouldn't be my outfit if I'm on an interview. You know what I mean? So think of runways like that as different outfits as well. And what are you playing with? Yeah. So anyway, have a great one.